Hello, everyone, and thank you for viewing. According to the Merriam-Webster Dictionary, motivation can be defined as a motivating force, stimulus, or influence. When looking up the word motivating, it is defined as to provide with a motive. As you'll see on the screen in front of you, it says, "What motivates you?" As you'll know, each of us is unique and driven by different factors, and those factors impact behavior and how one functions in a professional role. For example, myself personally, something that motivates me as an oncology nurse is that cancer is something that speaks to me personally on many different levels. So much so as three different people very close and dear to my heart were all affected very severely by cancer and a cancer diagnosis, and it was very tough to see them go through that. And despite the previous ideas I had about what I thought I had planned for my nursing career, that was kind of what motivated me to take the oncology route to start my nursing education and nursing journey. All right, and as we move along into the knit and grit and the meat and potatoes of the presentation, we're going to get into the theories of motivation. So, according to Sullivan, there are several theories of motivation. The content theory is the first one, and this focuses on why a person behaves the way they do. For example, this may focus on the needs or the reward that satisfies the need. The process theory is the second one and the most popular one and the most utilized. This is the process theory emphasizes how motivation has a direct impact on a person's work performance and effort. The expectancy theory focuses on how rewards play a key part in desired behaviors and work performance. For example, I did X because I know I will get Y. The equity theory is the belief that one person's contribution and reward is the exact same as the next person, regardless of tenure or status within the unit. Goal setting theory suggests that it is the goal itself that gets people motivated and not the reward, tasks, or effort. And lastly, reinforcement theory, also referred to as behavior modifications. These are the ideas that operant conditioning will give you the desired outcome you would like, and the thought that behavior becomes linked with certain consequences. For example, punishment is a negative way to reinforce unwanted or undesirable behavior from an employee, like cutting back hours, for example, or leaving them without pay. Extinction, which is not listed on the screen, is another branch of behavior modifications, which essentially removes the quote positive unquote reinforcement that triggers the unwanted or the undesired behavior. And lastly, there is shaping, which involves carefully reinforcing behaviors that are deemed desirable. These theories are not all perfect, however, they do give us a better understanding of influence over employee motivation. Employee motivation. As found by Sullivan in 2018, motivation describes the factors that initiate and direct behavior. Additionally, nurse managers prefer employees who are motivated as they are believed to be more self driven and most efficient in completing their jobs. Be an engaging leader. As a new graduate myself, about to be off of orientation in the next 2 weeks or so, there has been nothing more that I've been appreciative than my hands on and engaging leadership team, including my preceptor, my nurse educator, my assistant manager, my clinical nurse specialist, quality specialist, everyone. I think seeing them so invested in me as a new graduate has me motivated to show up and show out and do my absolute best each and every single day. Conan et al. Observed that engaging leaders fosters a favorable work environment for nursing staff, which is not only beneficial for their work motivation, but also for their work related well being. Engaging leadership and job resources are modifiable aspects of healthcare organizations, and these interventions aimed at developing engaging leadership behaviors among nursing leadership and building job resources will help healthcare organizations to create favorable working conditions for their nurses. Like in nursing school, many of us were taught that discharge should begin upon admission. The same thing can be applied when it comes to new staff members with their training and development. These next two slides will kind of go together in a sense, so please bear with me and I do apologize in advance. Development starts usually with roughly a week or so of new hire orientation for new employees. Followed by that, typically speaking, unit orientation with a preceptor takes place. And depending upon how much experience you have, depends on how long you will be with your preceptor. For a new graduate nurse like myself, the average preceptorship is about 12 weeks. And while you're with your preceptor, you will be nurtured with a well seasoned nurse. Well seasoned meaning someone that has been well vetted and they have shown competency on time and time again with leadership and validators within their unit. And they will essentially show you the ropes and provide you with on the job training, which is the most widely used educational method according to Sullivan. If you are a new graduate, you will also have to do what is called nurse residency, where you meet with different nurse educators, and by the end of the 1 year program, you present an evidence based project, and then you graduate the nurse residency program and become a staff nurse 2 at most institutions. At least that's how it is at my facility. Once I'm done nurse residency, I become a staff nurse 2. Once I'm off orientation within the next 2 weeks, I'll become a staff nurse 1. As a graduate nurse, up until I'm off orientation, I'm still deemed a graduate nurse. It's just kind of the way that the development track works. It kind of works on a track in a sense. So think of it as like building blocks. You're developing yourself or developing your staff to build upon themselves or yourself moving forward. So how can this all be brought together? Well, let's think about this critically for a moment. As I already mentioned in the presentation thus far, if you show an active interest in your staff members and are engaged with them, they will be motivated. As found by Zhang et al. In 2022, work motivation is a personal resource, and a nurse's work motivation is heavily correlated with job satisfaction and work engagement, thus affecting the quality of work being performed. Something that ultimately can lead to subpar quality of care, decreased patient satisfaction reports, patient injury, or even staff injury or staff turnover. Sullivan mentioned that coaching is a strategy that helps the receiver concentrate on a specific problem or task. When I asked my coworkers what came to mind when they heard the terms nursing and coach in the same sentence, they immediately thought of a performance improvement plan or being reprimanded. However, coaching is not always a bad thing. For example, think about a soccer coach teaching kids how to play and work on their skills with the ball. In that specific example, the coach is not reprimanding the kids and he's not giving them a performance improvement plan. He's helping them develop their skills that they quite don't have yet. Richardson et al. 2023 claimed that supporting developing staff knowledge and skills and nurturing nursing staff into the profession has occurred in several ways and evolved to include coaching. Coaching provides capabilities to enhance nursing leadership, performance improvement, and to provide support to staff. The benefits of coaching and nursing extend beyond the leadership level, and there is opportunity to extend the operationalization of coaching practice and coaching training within the discipline of nursing. Advancement. So think back to what motivates you. Are you that new graduate nurse working in an ICU with plans to attend CRNA school someday? That advancement that you've been working on to the next level takes development. Keep that end goal in mind so you never lose your motivation. Sullivan mentioned that one example of a career advancement strategy is clinical ladder. Many facilities with inpatient nursing units have these nowadays. I mentioned earlier in the presentation that once I'm off orientation, will be an RN1, and once I complete residency, I will be an RN2. That's an example of clinical ladder. To go beyond that, I will need to meet certain milestones and criteria set in place. So for example, and this is just to name a few things that I believe are in place at my current institution where I work. I have to have participation on a unit council, taken if have passed successfully a professional credentialing examination, further my education somehow, and those are just a few examples just to get to RN3 and RN4. And all of these clinical ladder levels do come with some kind of financial incentive of their own in your base pay rates. So that's something that a lot of institutions are utilizing as a way to help themselves, to help motivate nurses and motivate themselves to develop themselves personally and professionally. I have my references listed here on screen. Again, thank you so much for watching my presentation on the motivation and development of nursing staff. My name is Daryl Roberts. Have a great day.